Hello, folks, and welcome back to episode 11 of All the Mod 7 and the finale of All the Mod 7 for me here in this particular world. So, I know you got some questions. I know you might be a little bit disappointed, but let's get into it and I'll tell you what's going on. So, why am I ending the series after 11 episodes? And I know I've had a lot of comments from people that have said things like, hey, I'm so glad I finally found an All the Mod 7 video I like, and it's so cool you're doing this, and on and on and on. And I feel bad. I feel really bad that we're ending the series after just 11 episodes here. But the main issue is, and the main reason I'm doing it, is not because I don't want to continue on, because I really do. I've fallen in love with this world. I really enjoy this mod pack. I enjoy building this stuff here. The world generation is fantastic. I mean, I live in a giant redwood forest with a castle across the way. I mean, it's how can you not like this? I mean, it's a beautiful world. And we've done a lot of really cool things in it. The issue is the pack itself. And when I say the pack itself, it's not because of anything in particular that got done to the pack. It's not the pack. It's not the pack's developers. It's nothing like that. There's a problem with the pack in that it will not update to the newest version and keep your old world. And this is something that the pack developers did put on the pack description to start with. And to be perfectly honest with you, I missed it. I missed seeing that little bit on there. In that this pack was created originally in 1.17.1. But there's a little sentence at the bottom of the pack that says basically, oh, by the way, when we update to 1.18, worlds are going to have to be reset. We can't update to that. And I tried to update to the latest version of the pack just to see if that was still the case. And it was. So, unfortunately, this world will not coexist with the 1.18 version of All the Mod 7. So my options were, I was sitting there going, okay, well, what do I do? And the only real option is to start over. I mean, I suppose I could start, well, not start fresh, but I suppose I could basically just recreate everything in creative here and then move on in survival from there in All the Mod 7. But that doesn't, I mean, that wouldn't make me feel all that great about it, because it'd be like, hey, look, I updated the pack, and I had to do this and this and this. And then are you really actually playing survival Minecraft at that point if you're just basically recreating everything in creative and then living it in survival? To me, no. So my options were basically limited to end the series or start all over again. And I don't want to start all over again from scratch, because we've made some really, really good progress in this world. We've built some really cool things. I mean, we've been to the Nether, we've been to the End, we've been to the Everbright, we've conquered all the dimensions, basically, for all intents and purposes. We have a cat. I mean, we have Reinhold out here. I mean, you can't forget about Reinhold. I mean, well, if the computer won't freeze on me. You can't forget about Reinhold and my colonists down there, who are still slowly but surely building their place with the builder's hut in the town center and the house and all that. So we've done a ton in this world, and I don't want to just... I don't want to throw it away, and I don't want to go into creative to recreate all of it and then play in survival from there, because that just doesn't feel... that feels kind of cheaty, you know? So my options basically boiled down to, I either restart the whole thing all over again from scratch, or I end the series. And I decided that, you know what? We have done a ton in this world. I think we can end the series and feel good about where we're at. I think we can feel pretty good about all the stuff that we've done. There's some things that we didn't get a chance to do, obviously. There's always going to be stuff that you don't get a chance to do when you're talking about mod packs that are kitchen sink mod packs like this. There's always going to be things you don't touch and don't get to. And don't get a chance to actually experience in it because you just, you don't like that mod, or you don't get a chance to get there, or you find a better way to do it, or what have you. So I think we're in a fairly good spot to actually end this series on episode 11. But you know what that means? That means we actually have to take a tour of everything. So we're going to go jump on our horse, and we're going to take a tour of everything that we have done and seen in this mod pack from beginning to end. All right, you ready, Spartacus? Let's go. So we are off to spawn. I'll see you all there. So from humble beginnings came one of my best series that I've ever done. Does anyone remember this? This was our starter house back from like episode 1. We didn't even spend a whole episode here. Because I spawned like way out there on a island reef area, and then got to land here, and I thought, well, this is really pretty looking, and I love the trees over there and that little mountain and all that, and I'm gonna live here. So we built this little itty bitty little starter house. Nothing spectacular in here, just literally nothing spectacular. We got like a wood cutter and some storage. Did I leave you anything? Oh, I left some stuff in the storage. Well, how about that? Not anything I really, nothing to write home about, but I left some stuff in storage here. Oh, an emu egg. I could have used that. Took all the coal, of course, but this was our little starter house, our little starter base, and it was just something that I built, and I was like, this is really cool looking, and I really enjoy it, and I think this looks neat, and we're going to live here. And then I decided, you know what? This isn't the greatest of neighborhoods, because that swamp over there tended to have alligators spawn in it, and I didn't have any armor at the time, and alligators, they bite you a lot, hard, and it doesn't feel good. So yeah, we pretty much abandoned this like halfway through episode 1, when I was just like, it's good and all, but we can do better, and we did do better. But this was our first lush cave. We had a lush cave down here where I basically just mined out everything that was usable down there, other than the clay. And for resources, so we had our glowberries, we had our moss, we had our little sugarcane farm over here by the mud. I mean, it was a neat little base. It was a neat little base, but it was just something that I wanted to do something different. And I mean, I built bases like this 100 times before, and I was just like, you know what? I want something new and better and different. And even though I really liked the design for this, and I love the wood that we used for it, we set out after that to our new home, which was this. This was our one log home that was based on a real place that I had seen in pictures from the Sequoia National Forest, that I decided that I wanted to recreate in Minecraft here. So we built this giant redwood house, basically. It's a giant redwood log. Looks like it's a tree that's fallen over. You notice there's an azalea tree back there that basically is growing in the old moss left over from the trunk of the tree. And I was really happy with the way that this turned out. We used a lot of stuff from what was this from? The Macaw's Fences and Walls. We used stuff from Mr. Crayfish's mod. We used stuff from the Builder's Editions mod. And we made a pretty nice house, I think. And I don't know why my computer's having so many problems right now, but it really is. I think Windows Defender is trying to download like 12 things, and it's just like taking up all of our processing power. So, but you enter the house in the little foyer here. You have some of these custom paintings that are from the paintings mod, the Macaw's paintings mod, on the wall. You have a suit of armor on a custom armor stand. The lamp, which I really like, our statue. You go into the living room, you've got more paintings, you've got books, you've got the dragon egg, of course, you've got a goblet, which I really like. And these tables from decoration are just amazing. So it's really, really cool. Many a time I just came in here and sat on the sofa when I was thinking about what I was going to do for my next build or my next project, and I would just sit here and I would just be studying stuff, and I just be sitting on the couch. So me in real life and me in the game were doing pretty much the exact same thing. We were just sort of studying and looking through what we could do for the next big project we wanted to do. At some point we got a cat. I don't remember exactly which episode it was, and we never named him because cat. It's a cat. You can't name them. They're not going to come when you call or anything like that. You just might as well name it Cat. I really loved working on this build just in general. Like, the kitchen is gorgeous, is just exactly what I wanted the kitchen to look like. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff in cooking for blockheads, like, it glitches a lot, so you don't see it. So you get like the stuff on the shelves up there. Plenty of food in the fridge, plenty of food in our cupboards back here. I mean, we got tons upon tons of food. First couple episodes was just pretty much the search for food. It's like, where are we going to find food and figure out how to do things? And I actually made the decision we were not going to be making a cow farm. We were going to be surviving off something different, and I chose chimichangas, because look at that. It gives you, what, 7 hunger shanks and 14 saturation? I mean, it's really good. And then I was also doing this yam jam, which is kind of the same thing, after I found some yams later on. I did make a couple of hamburgers just as emergency food, but for the most part, we would just be eating chimichangas and enchiladas and tea and yam jam for the entire series here. So we also have our beer, and I think I'm going to pull some of this out that we'll have this as a celebratory beer later, because we got the drink beer mod around, I think, 0.3. They put that mod in there so you can actually make beer. So I made a bunch of pumpkin kvass, which is actually pretty good. It gives you 4.5 hunger shanks back. No saturation though. So I was really happy with this setup. And this setup plus the beds back here. It's very true to life. It's very much what the actual one log house looks like in real life. So I was really happy with the way that this turned out. I hope the next mod that we go to has something like Builder's Crafts or Mr. Crayfish or Macaw's or something like that, so I can build something as good as, if not better than this, because I was really happy with the way that this turned out. It's a really neat little build. And then, of course, our storage system, we did this in episode 2 just because storage was getting completely out of hand. So I needed something. So luckily we have the Simple Storage Network, which is one of my favorite modded storage mods. And then I'll let you look behind the curtain back here at our mess of storage that we have. I mean, and it is kind of a mess. I've had to add more to it as time has gone on. So we've got a bunch of chests. We've got a bunch of what are these back here? These cyclic crates that are basically double chests in crate form. If I'd have realized that I had those, I would have done that rather than actual chests. But so yeah, we've got a whole bunch of, this is how the sausage is made kind of stuff back here. And then of course our ender chest that imports all of our stuff from our various different farms. So I was really happy with the way that this turned out. And then our actual bed, which is where we sleep occasionally, and also where we have our spawn set, because you can't set your spawn on these sleeping bags, unfortunately, even though they went along with the decor really, really well. So I just needed to have a bed back here to set spawn at. So yeah, there's that. I was really pleased with the way this turned out, really happy with the house itself, and really happy with everything that we did there. But then we moved on to our farms, and the way that I wanted the farms to actually be made was much like the Aztec farming, which was a sort of tiered farming that would go down mountains. Because I mean, if you look at Peruvian landscape, there's not a lot of like arable land that's not on the side of a mountain. So the way that they defeated that was they actually used the side of the mountain. They just basically had tiers going all the way down the mountain with their farms on it. And I wanted to kind of recreate that as much as I could. So it's basically what we've done here with the water that flows out from down here all the way down to the end of the farm. We have, our wheat, our carrots, potatoes, standard Minecraft crops, but then we also have rice and black beans, tomatoes, yams down there, salt and pepper and vanilla. And we have a little bit of soybeans and a few other like minor things. But for the most part, I concentrated on beans, tomatoes, and rice, and wheat, because that's what you need to make chimichangas. So that's what we concentrated on with our farm here. And I was really happy with the farm. Like the deep slate is just such a good building block. The grimstone, it's such a good building block to use for stuff like this, because it's got that dark industrial kind of look to it. And these lights from Macaw's Lights and Lamps, like everything Macaw's was just fabulous. It was MVP in this pack for sure. And like lighting this up was easy to do and fun. And of course we got our scarecrow up here because the crows will show up and eat all your food if you're not careful. So we moved on to the farm, and then we moved on to, I think, what has turned out to be one of my favorite builds of the series was this sort of destroyed outbuilding that went with the one log house, that we chose some of the same type of color schemes, but a little bit different than the oranges, the umbers and the oranges of the house, and went more with the reds, with things like the netherwood planks and the stripped netherwood logs and the cherry, and made this really cool little enchanting area that I've spent a lot of time at enchanting stuff. So I was really happy with this. And of course, we've got the willow bars in here to make it look like that this was just sort of like a cheap outbuilding that was put up, and this is all, sort of crumbling away and showing you that the superstructure of it is just bars and framing, and the outside was just sort of like, cheap stucco and things like that. So one of my favorite builds, really fun build to do. I love the different types of chains from the additional lanterns mod. that we put in here. Now, we do have different types of bookshelves we could have used too, but I was thinking about that. I was like, I could change over now that we have different colors of bookshelves, as with the 0.3 that they came out with. But I decided to keep it like this because I kind of I like the original bookshelves over some of the modded ones, just because, I'm a sucker for the vanilla game. I really am. I'm a vanilla player at heart for the most part, although I'm getting more and more and more into modded and really enjoying it. But I mean, my vanilla roots basically said, let's just keep the bookshelves like this and just keep them like this and see what they look like. I did add this Skystone chest from Applied Energistics 2 from a meteor that I found out wandering one day that we basically just keep our books and our enchanting supplies in. But other than that, this is a very kind of vanilla style build, other than the roof, because we use the dark shingles from Engineers Decor for that. But just wanted to give it that sort of like destroyed, overgrown kind of look that, I happened along, found this, and just sort of repurposed this into my enchanting setup. So next to that, we have, of course, our good old bone meal and worm farm. Now, this is from Water Strainer, and this was amazing because Water Strainer gives you all the stuff. So basically gives you everything you're going to get from fishing in an automated way. And you can use the strainers and you can actually enchant them. We enchanted this with Fortune 3, so we get better drops out of it. You get like enchanted books, bell range. That one I haven't seen yet. You get enchanted books. You get, leather, bones, fish, everything you'd get from normal fishing, you just get it in a much more automated fashion. So, you just take the worms. I think we've got a stack of worms. Plus, it also makes fertilizer. So this little worm bin here, you throw in fruit basically, and it creates worms and fertilizer. And the fertilizer acts just like bone meal. It looks just like it. It acts just like it. It's just bone meal in a different form. So you put your worms in there with your bait pot, and then it just basically goes through and fishes and creates items. So it creates food, it creates items, it gets you enchanted books, which is really, really neat. So I was really glad to build both of those things. And then we sort of expanded on the farm area. We put bamboo around here, although I never really used bamboo for much of anything. It just looks good. It's a good looking decorative kind of thing. We put a bunch of bamboo around, put some small drip leaves that I got off a wandering trader, plenty of moss. We put up a glowberry kind of, miniature little farm thing over here just for glowberry production, which we got a fair amount off of. We did have our sweet berries over here, but that got kind of taken down when I needed to make room for that. But sugarcane farm, I mean, we had basically, from episode 2 on, because we're really in between episode 2 and 3, I think is when I did most of the farm. I did most of the bins. I did the glowberries. So 2 and 3 are basically where I did all of that. And then I think episode 4 is where I did this, where I did the enchanting setup. So from episode 3 on, we were pretty much set as far as food production went. We had everything going for us. So we were free to do a lot of other things. And by other things, I mean this down here, this little tunnel. Oh, hi, Amira. How are you doing? You're angry at me, aren't you? Uh-oh. I clicked on her and the game went... There we go. Yeah. You're getting very upset. I totally understand. I get it, but I'd give you a job if the builder would actually build things a little bit faster. Sorry about that. But when I said other things, I kind of meant this tunnel that we built, which was... I was tired of going up and down the mountain to get to my base, so I basically made an elevator and a little tunnel to get up there. And I thought, well, while I'm doing that, why don't I just make an actual tunnel? And why don't we make it look like the tunnels that you see in pictures at Sequoia National Park? So it just sort of goes through this giant redwood. And that's what we did. And I really like the look of this. I love these Supplementaries wall lanterns. This is just a copper lantern from Supplementaries, and it looks so good. And of course, you got the struts, the support brackets from Builder Crafts and Editions, which is another fantastic builder's mod in this particular pack. And then down here we have effectively our setups to do things like we've got a melting chamber to create liquid magma, because we needed that for the solidification chamber to make amber so that we could make certain other things. And then we have our crushing macerator here, if it will activate, there we go, where we were basically crushing down netherrack to make blaze rods so we could go to the end, because I could never find a blaze spawner in our end. I could not find a fortress to save my life. So I just decided to do it this way. And everything feeds into one of these ender chests from Ender Chests, which is basically it's a 18 slot. Well, it was a 3 slot, but you can actually use an ender pearl on it to make it an 18 slot. Thank you, Gabby, for that particular little pearl of wisdom, which I didn't know about, to make it a bigger chest. So all of these feed into that ender chest that you saw up in my storage area. So anything that comes out of either of these is going to go directly into that. So it's not quite completely automated, but it's pretty close. And the power for this is actually all being supplied by solar panels up on the side of my house. And we only ever needed about 9 solar panels to run all of our machines, which is one of the issues with a kitchen sink mod pack where it's still in development, is that you're not necessarily going to have all of the machines that you had from some of the other mods that you've done. So there wasn't a whole lot for me to actually make that would supply power to. So there weren't a whole bunch of different machines. You had cyclic. I believe thermal foundation was in here. We never got mechanism, which is like my favorite tech mod. If we'd gotten mechanism, I would have had a whole mechanism room down here, but we never got that one. But we did also have this room over here, which is our tree growing room, which basically, this is a tree growing machine. It harvests wood from trees. It replants saplings. Sapling grows into a tree. It harvests the tree, puts it all in the ender chest, takes it all directly to my storage. So really fantastic little setup we had going there. So that is the tunnel. And then on the other side of the tunnel, we have our Mine Colonies colony, which is still not very impressive, as you can tell. Mostly because I'm trying to build this house for this person over here, and the house involves a whole bunch of blocks that you need another building for in Mine Colonies to be able to build the blocks for. But in order to make that, you have to have another building that builds the blocks for that one, and it's oh my god. It's just... see, the thing is, I love the idea of Mine Colonies. I really do. Let me just close the door on you there, Eddie. I love the idea of Mine Colonies. I love the idea of having, like, a bunch of colonists that show up and are building houses and stuff like that. But it is so slow. And it's so micromanagey. Like, if you have a pack that's got Mine Colonies in it, I highly recommend using the Mine Colonies, like, starter supply base or supply ship as like your first starter base for however long, for the first couple of days or whatever it is. Highly recommend you do that. I do not recommend that you make it your like main point of focus during your playthrough, because it will drive you nuts, because it's very micromanagey to get everything taken care of. And the guy who you have, your builder is just completely inept. Like, you have to give him all of the materials, and then he'll build slowly. This, like, it took him, I think in real life, it took him 3 hours to build this. Whereas I probably could have done it in 20 minutes. I mean, honestly, look at how it's built. I mean, this is a 20-minute build. I mean, let's be real here. This is a 20-minute build. There's not even really an interior. There's a table and some torches. I mean, so Mine Colonies is, I love the idea. Just the execution of it is something that still needs a little bit of work. And I'm certain, like I said, it's gotten better since I did it the last time in 1.12. Because when I did in 1.12, it was excruciating, the amount of time and effort and materials it took to do anything in Mine Colonies. So it's better than it was, but it still needs some work and just making it a little less finicky and fiddly, because it's very fiddly. You've got to go in and do everything for your colonists. You really do. And it really gets on your nerves fast. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, if you enjoy having that kind of like micromanagement control of everything in your Minecraft world, then Mine Colonies is probably for you. It's not for me. Because, like I said, the supply ship that you can do, or the supply base that you can do in Mine Colonies, are great. It gives you everything you need right off the bat with an investment of like 5 chests or 5 boats, and you're good to go. But just the whole process of doing everything for the colonists is just so dull, and it's so fiddly, and it just wasn't something that I enjoyed doing. So, I mean, props to the people who came up with it. Like, I think the same thing about, there's a Fallout 4 mod that's called, I want to say it's Better Settlements or something like that, where it's effectively the same idea, is that you have your settlements in Fallout 4, if you've ever played the game, you know what I'm talking about, where you attract people in, and you give them jobs, and they do different things, but you do all the building. You build all the housing, you build all the shops, you build all of the workstations. The Better Settlements mod actually automates all of that and does it for you. So you basically give the settlers blueprints, and they build the thing. But the thing is, it takes them like 10 minutes to build the thing. It doesn't take them 3 hours, you know? It takes them about 10 minutes to actually build a structure. Whereas mine colonies, it takes much longer. So it's the same kind of idea, just the execution, I think, from the Fallout 4 perspective, I think is a little bit better than what mine colonies has. Now, I know a lot of people swear by mine colonies. A lot of people are like, oh, I love mine colonies. It's so great. And I do all these different things. And that's fine. Hey, once again, I'm not a fan of magic mods in Minecraft. So there are people who are like, how can you not be a fan of magic mods? Because I don't like them. It's very simple. You know, the same reason I'm not a huge fan of mine colonies is it's just too fiddly. But there are some people who really enjoy that level of micromanaged control of their environment. I work with someone who's that way. So he would probably really like mine colonies. He would probably really enjoy it. I don't. I like building and I like creating things and I like some grind. Like, I don't mind going and grinding for 2 or 3 hours just mining. I'm fine with that. I enjoy mining. But this was a kind of grindy I was not. Like, it's so much back and forth to get materials and then drop them off and then wait and then get more materials and then get him another axe because he broke his. And it's just one thing after another, and I can't do it. After a while, after about a couple hours, it's just like, oh my god, my 4-year-old daughter was less of a headache to deal with than you guys are. Okay, you know, at least her, if she got involved in something, she'd sit there and play with toys for a couple of hours, and you know, I was free to go off and take out the trash, do the dishes, or whatever it happened to be, and I didn't have to keep an eye on her every single minute. These colonists, you have to keep an eye on them every single minute, or else they'll run out of something, or break something, or start to starve. And it's just not for me. so that's my bit on mine colonies. So now, having said that, let's run to our next stop on the tour, which is going to be the Nether. And this was another place that I never really got around to doing all the things in that I really wanted to do. Like, I wanted to make a Nether hub, and I wanted to have like a Nether hub with going, you know, places like out to a Nether fortress and a bastion and all those different things. But the problem was we didn't spawn really near any of those structures. We spawned here, and it's a really cool biome, mind you, because this is the erupting inferno biome, which is really neat looking. But there's just not a whole lot around here to really write home about. I mean, we branched out in a number of different directions here. As you can see, you can just follow the torches. I kind of went this direction quite a bit, looking for different things, like looking for a Nether fortress, looking for a bastion, just looking for different stuff, and we never really found it. I mean, you come out here and you can see, like, I've got a little staircase that goes down. We found this particular biome, which is the undergrowth, is what it's called. So you got some hellbark over here and a few other things. But this goes on for a while, and after that it just sort of terminates at a giant... Did you just shoot me? I know you didn't just shoot me. That's what I thought. Piglins. But no, I went that way, and it just this went on until I hit a giant lava lake, and then after that I was just like, I'll end exploring, and that's when I discovered the whole, you know, you can. Okay, I'm full of arrows. I've discovered the whole you can actually make blaze rods with the macerator, and I didn't really need the fortress after that, and I didn't ever really use potions all that much in this particular playthrough either, so I didn't really need Nether wart either. So it was just one of those where it was like, yeah, okay, we'll just use the Nether to be the Nether and get a couple of things, and that's really about it. I mean, I didn't even, honestly, I didn't even really need to go to the Nether other than to get Nether rack for my crushing macerator to make blaze rods. So, another thing that I kind of... Well, dude, get off the erupting volcano. What are you doing? Ugh. They're not very bright, are they? So yeah, so another thing it's not that I really regret it, because, I mean, I've done Nether hubs before, but I really wanted to make, like, a really cool Nether hub in this one, because there's just so many different types of biomes here. Like, if you go this direction, for instance, we can find, I believe there's another biome that I found down here as I was looking around that was kind of interesting, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so we'll just have to run down there and see. It was a Crimson Forest. Okay, so yeah, we found a Crimson Forest down here. Not sure what's on the other side. There's a bunch of those. Okay, well, I still don't like dealing with those things. So yeah, there's a Crimson Forest this way. I never really got a chance to explore. That was where I was going to explore next, but then that's when I discovered the whole idea of taking the Macerator and just crushing down Netherrack to make blaze rods. So I didn't really need to do it. So I didn't really explore this Nether as much as I really wanted to because there are some very cool biomes down here. It's not the better Nether mod for it, but it's Nether improved, I want to say, something like that. It adds a couple new biomes in there, but it's a really striking looking environment and it's really fun to run around in. I just never had much of a chance to do much down here. So unfortunately, that's really all there is to see down here is just kind of this erupting inferno and a couple of tunnels that I made, and that's really the Nether. So yeah, let's head back and see more interesting stuff. And by more interesting things, I mean this that we found in episode 8, and we went to the Everbright, which I had never been to in any of the mod series that I'd ever done or in any of the mod packs I'd ever played. I had never been to the Everbright. Now, according to the book that we got, this guy apparently has different new stuff to trade now. He does. We can buy dungeon keys from him for books and emeralds. We can get dungeon keys for nature stones and starlit saplings. We can get the nature dungeon key, the blinding dungeon keys. So the further you go in the mod, the more stuff he is liable to sell you. I don't know why you're getting in bed, dude. It's daytime. Hey, whenever you want to take a nap, it's fine with me. So we went to the Everbright in episode 8, and I found this, and I was so jazzed because this is something I'd been looking for in the previous episode when we started playing around with mine colonies, is because I was looking for this because I really wanted to go here. What is caught inside our portal room? A seagull. Interesting. Okay. A seagull with a polar posy. Right. There you go. So this was the portal we went through. It's such a cool looking portal. It says turquoise stone bricks makes the Everbright portal. You step in and you go off to the Everbright where you find our Everbright house that we made. So this was just a little build that I made when I got here just to have something to fall back to while I was exploring the Everbright. And I was really happy with the way this turned out. Very simple build. I mean, we basically have just wood and bricks. But because of the color combinations, it's a very striking, unique kind of build. So I was really happy with the way that this turned out with the leaves around here. And I have our little farm out back where we're growing, wheat and potatoes and winter leaves, which I don't think, I never harvested these. I don't even know what the winter leaves do. Oh, I haven't even eaten them yet. Oh, we'll have to eat some before we leave here. So, but yeah, very simple little build. And then if you go inside, you'll notice we have our armor sitting here, all of our armor and our sword with all of our tools on the wall, our toolbox, which allows us to improve our tools, our snowcap oven that runs off of mushrooms, which is just a brilliant idea. So just a quick little build, just nothing spectacular or anything, but I did love the way that it turned out. I love the way it looked, and I love the fact that we were right on the other side from this huge mushroom biome with a village right there. So we were able to sort of raid the village and go in and see what was going on for that. Oh, really, dude? I don't have... Hang on. I've got my spear. I can spear you. And watch the game freeze. My computer is very much struggling with this game right now. Simply because I think it's because I'm still on like version 0.32. And it doesn't like it. It doesn't like running an older version of the game. Like, at all. So, we'll just beat him to death with the spear. That should take care of him. There we go. I think it's not liking the fact that I'm not on 118 running the latest version, and it's really unhappy with me. So, it looks like that Iron Golem was just down there wrecking fools right on. So this is the Everbright. This is where we came. We went to a number of different places while we were here. We went to that village over there, of course. There's a sunken village over there that I was going to use as a villager trading hall if I had stayed in this world any longer. We have a little pathway that goes down here to our mining area where we were fighting off demon polar bears and ice spirits and all sorts of different stuff. And then over there, of course, is where the nature fortress is with that subterranean village. So we didn't do a whole lot of building here, but the building that we did, I really enjoyed doing. I really enjoyed building with like brand new colors of blocks and different color palettes. Trying to make colors work together and using contrasting colors, and that was and different textures, like the bricks, completely different texture than any other bricks I'd worked with before. So just working with that was fun. So it was really enjoyable. It was really fun making this particular build and running around over here in the Everbright, and fighting the Everbright bosses. That was a really good time too. So even though we didn't quite beat all of the bosses, we beat one of them, and that's enough, I think. I don't think we have to worry about the nature boss. He'll take care of himself sooner or later. He knows we're here, so he will live in fear. Or something like that. So, hello, little pixie. How are you? So yeah, so I was really happy with this build, and I was really pleased with the way that it turned out. So let's head back home, and we'll check out a couple of the things. One of which is our Wither Skeleton farm that we made in the remnants of the Dungeon Tactics dungeon that we cleared out after we got completely and utterly overpowered stuff in episode 5. So after I cleared all of that out, I decided I was going to go ahead and turn one of those Wither Skeleton spawners into an actual Wither Skeleton farm. And it's gone through a couple of redesigns since then. Like, we've got obsidian around this because you do get explosive skeletons occasionally. Ooh, ultra unseen Wither Skeleton of Venom. Interesting. Well, this should be a fun fight. Yep. And he poisons you, imagine that. Oh, that's not good. And there's an exploding skeleton in there too, so this could probably go very, very poorly if I'm not careful. So let's just get rid of these guys, like, right now. And they do that kind of thing to you, which is always fun. That sounds like it's coming from somewhere else. That's very interesting. Well, he's hurting wherever he is. Wither Skeleton hurts. So he's out there somewhere? That's very strange. But yeah, it's just a very simple... You've got the spawner up there. You've got some fans that I put on the side that blow them into a water channel down here. Let me get this experience. And then they come down here and you swipe at them with your ridiculous sword. And all the loot drops in the chest. You put it into the reclaimer, the recycler, the... What is this called? The salvager. There we go. I knew that was something like that. I just swiped away my my red carpet. Smart! I am so smart. SMRT. I am so smart. But then all of the stuff drops in here. Oh, looks like we had a cave centipede fall in here at some point. I really wish that guy would die, because this is getting really irritating. Dude, can you just die? That would be great. But then, like, all of the diamond gear falls in here. You take it all out. You disenchant it off the grindstone. You put it in the crate. It goes into the salvager, and then goes into the system. Didn't even need this storage that was here, unfortunately. But this was a great little thing. Like, I could get 15 levels in 5 minutes off this thing, and a ton of diamonds with the salvager, so, which was awesome. If you have a chance to do something like this, like if you have Dungeon Tactics and Silent Gear in a pack, build something like this, because it is amazing. And of course, we've got the red nether brick lanterns, which I love, with the nether brick chains. It's just a great little way to put things together. So, all right, let's go back home, because I'm getting tired of listening to the skeleton. And it's raining, which seems kind of appropriate, because no tour would be complete without our good buddy Reinhold. Without Reinhold here. So Reinhold showed up, I think, on like episode 4, and he's actually from the Corail Tombstone mod, and he sells bunches of stuff. Like, he sells this lost tablet, he sells grave dust, he sells all kinds of different stuff here. And he's still only apprentice level. I never did level him up all the way. But he sells all different kinds of stuff for various different things. Like, you can sell him bundles, snowballs, he likes a bunch of weird stuff. Gunpowder, standard mob drops. You can trade him dark marble stairs for this lost tablet. Impregnated diamonds for grave dust. You can get frostbite arrows. So he's a cool guy to have around just in general, especially if you're getting into the Corail Tombstone stuff, where you're getting into, like, using the Tombstone mod for things like item manipulation or grinding, or like, is there's a way you can actually ore double through Coriel Tombstone. It's a really fun mod. I never really got into it all that much, but I got into it enough to know, just be able to see the potential in it. Especially, you could probably, anything you can do in tech, if you're into that, you could actually do in Coriel Tombstone. You could have ore doubling, you could have auto smeltering, you could have disenchanting, mass disenchanting, tearing enchantments off other things. In fact, that's one of the ways we got overpowered, was through Coriel Tombstone mod, because I was able to actually get an Essence of Undeath to make this Subaraki's Grave, which notice has a soul around it, that I discovered that using, like, say this or this, you can rip that enchantment off with a special book you make with grave dust, and you basically will get that enchantment on a book. So that's how we got mending on all of our gear. That's how we got all of this stuff on our ridiculous sword, all our things on our pickaxes, was pretty much all through Coriel Tombstone. And now there's other ways to do it. Notice I do have a cyclic disenchanter built here. I just never did get the liquid experience like the Ender tank. The plan was, had I gone any further in this mod, the plan was I was going to basically put an Ender tank down to catch all the experience from the Wither Skeletons, feed it directly into this, and use this to disenchant and reenchant things, to move stuff over to basically rip enchantments off, put them on books. But unfortunately, once again, didn't have a chance to do that. So the Ender tank would have gone there and piped in, much like anything else. You just drop the stuff you want disenchanted in here. It rips it off, puts it on a book. The book gets delivered over there. But like I said, plenty of power, no experience. So that was the next thing that was kind of on the docket in my mind, was actually getting the liquid experience from the Wither Skeleton farm and feeding into that. But instead, I chose to I went the Coriel Tombstone route. I didn't really need anything other than that. So you could probably do both, or either. I mean, if you were more into cyclic and everything, you could totally do that. If you're more into, like, the power of the Coriel Tombstone mod, you could totally do that as well. So it just kind of depends on which way you want to go. So, yeah, let's go to sleep here and get rid of this rain. And that leads us to what we did last episode with the Walk of Kings here, which is very loosely based on the Royal Mile from Edinburgh, going to Edinburgh Castle, with the statues of First Oni and Kitty at the top, and then signs for all the people who have been instrumental in the success of my channel and my content creation career up to this point. Not to say that all of you out there are not equally responsible, but there are certain people that I just felt needed to hear it from me, because they've been around since the very beginning, and having them here has been just absolutely fantastic. So this is what we did last episode with this little bridge that I really, really like, if I could actually walk on the road correctly, that is. With the zinc blocks and the signs and the lamps and the lamp posts, and of course this here in honor of the 300 subscribers that I had as of the video, and now I'm on my way to 400, and it looks like we might actually hit 500 before the end of the year, which is just astounding. So, and that's a testament to all of you and a tribute to all of you, and you can't get enough thanks from me. You are much more than I deserve, and I really like the way that this turned out, with the lamp posts and little trees sort of giving you an idea of where we've been, as far as like the fir trees and the Everbright trees, the azaleas, the maples, just like sort of gives you a view in miniature of the world and the journey we've been on throughout this series. I am going to be leaving everything right here, and we are going to be leaving this world pretty much as we found it. So we're going to be putting all of this in here, all of my gear, all of my armor, all of my trinkets, my hats, the glasses, this, all of these, and the feet, of course. So all of that is going to go in the box, because I am probably going to put this world up for download. Oh, I still have my sunglasses on. I have my sunglasses over my sunglasses. Oops. Yeah, that and that can both go. There we go. And there's the backpack. Fantastic. Is that better? Much better. Now I just have the regular sunglasses on. So I'm probably going to be putting this world up for download for those of you who want to go take a look at it and look around. Now remember, this world only will work in all the mods 0.032 and below. It will not work on the 1.0 release because the 1.0 release is in 1.18 rather than 1.17.1. So unfortunately, if you want to get the world and you want to play around in it and you want to look around and see all the different things that we've built here while we've been here, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to use the 0.032 version of the mod rather than the 1.0 release of the All the Mod 7 mod pack. So just keep that in mind. I just need to figure out exactly how to go about doing the download on there, and I'll let you guys know via my Discord and probably also on YouTube for whatever I do next about this world being down for download. So let's go ahead and have our last pumpkin. Look at the size of this beer. That's amazing. Let's have our last pumpkin kvass of the playthrough and of this world. I really can't say thank you guys enough for coming along with us on this journey. I wish I could keep going on this, but like I said, I don't want to start over because that would just be, I mean, we'd be doing a lot of the same stuff to get everything ready to go, and I just don't think the first couple episodes would be all that entertaining, and I don't want to go into creative and just cheat myself in a bunch of stuff to recreate the world before I get there. So it's unfortunate, but hey, it happens. And, you know, I'm sad to leave this place. I've really gotten attached to this world over the last month. I know a lot of you have come here specifically looking for someone doing All the Mod 7, and I hope you stick around for whatever we do next, because I've actually got a very cool mod pack that I'm looking at right now for our next series. So I hope that you show up for that, because it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lesser known pack, but it's also a newer pack, and I think it's going to be really amazing. So I hope you come along for that. I hope you come along for the ride. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I've really enjoyed having you here. This has been a great experience for me with All the Mod 7, and I look forward to whatever happens next. If you're new here, I know a lot of people do that are new show up for like world tours and finales of episodes. So if you are new here, I do hope you get a chance to go back and watch all the other episodes leading up to this, and I hope that you click that little subscribe button on your way out the door, because we'd love to have you. But once again, I do this for fun. I do this for entertainment. I do this as like stress relief. So don't feel like you ever have to do anything you don't want to do when you come here other than just watch the video and have a good time. But if you do choose to hit subscribe and you do choose to like the video, we would really appreciate it, and it would be awesome to have you along in the community for the ride to come. So, but whatever you do tonight, folks, make sure you go out, play some games, have some fun. I'll see you all again real soon in a brand new mod pack. Have a good night.